If you try to do this, I've been very vocal and very open about this. We will be your worst enemy. We will immediately go after you, guns a-blazing, with the FBI and whoever else we need to get.
My friend Dana White and the UFC are being investigated by the FBI for allegedly fixing over 100 fights.
100.
Called the fighter and his lawyer and said, what's going on? There's some weird betting action going on in your fight. Are you injured? Do you owe anybody money? Has anybody approached you? And the kid said no.
The UFC is facing shocking allegations as the FBI steps in to investigate suspicious betting activity. Dana White must answer for possible fixed fights while facing growing criticism from fighters and peers. UFC President Dana White is facing criticism from fighters and analysts over his handling of recent allegations. Reports of suspicious betting activity drew the attention of the FBI, and when integrity firm IC360 raised the alarm, White contacted the fighter and his team, who denied any wrongdoing. The unusual wagering patterns triggered a deeper investigation, making this one of the most serious integrity concerns the UFC has faced.
Probably about 1 o'clock that day, we're with a company called IC360, and they are the best bet monitoring company in the business. And they reached out to us and they told us that there was some unusual action going on with that fight. Do we know anything? You know, we didn't. So what we did was we called the fighter and his lawyer and said, what's going on? There's some weird action going on in your bet. Weird betting action going on in your fight.
White took swift action, personally contacting the FBI and holding multiple meetings. He dismissed rumors of widespread fight fixing as clickbait and emphasized his zero-tolerance stance against corruption. He made it clear that any fighter involved in fixing a fight would face serious consequences. White also stated that protecting the sport's credibility remains his top priority throughout the investigation.
And said, what's going on? There's some weird action going on in your bet. Weird betting action going on in your fight. Are you injured? Do you owe anybody money? Has anybody approached you to, you know, and the kid said, no, absolutely not. I'm going to kill this guy. And, you know, so we said, okay. The fight plays out and first round finish by rear naked choke. Literally the first thing we did was call the FBI. So we called the FBI. I've met with the FBI twice today. So that's the whole thing. Now you see people out there talking, oh, there's hundreds of fights under it. It's total bullshit.
Dana White did not hold back as fighters came forward claiming they were offered money to fix fights. He openly criticized fighters for even entertaining the idea, calling it disrespectful to sport, fans, and the hard work of other athletes. White made it clear that anyone found involved in such actions would face serious consequences, reinforcing his stance on keeping the UFC's competition clean and credible.
You know, you're seeing things out on the internet where like fighters are coming out and going, oh, I was approached. Really? Why didn't you tell us that? Or more importantly, why didn't you tell law enforcement that you were approached? Now you're saying that you were approached? It's like if somebody comes up and says, hey, I want you to rob a bank. I'm going to rob banks. Want to rob a bank with me? And you don't do it. What, you're not gonna tell law enforcement? They're gonna be approached now by the FBI.
Amid this situation, Oscar de la Hoya wasted no time seizing the moment to reignite his feud with Dana White amid the UFC's betting scandal. Using the controversy as ammunition, he blasted White and TKO executives, accusing them of corrupting combat sports and exploiting fighters. His fiery remarks made it clear that he sees the FBI probe as long overdue karma, adding fuel to an already heated rivalry between two of fighting's biggest promoters.
I've been trying to tell you guys, these TKO guys are scumbags. And now they're trying to change the Muhammad Ali Act to boxers over. Get the out of our sport.
Now get the fuck out of here.
Everything you touch turns to absolute shit.
He's everywhere!
And now you have the FBI crawling up your ass. Good luck. I mean, look, is there any young boxer who is crazy enough to their careers by signing with your shit league?
No.
They want their own rules. They want their own belt, their own ring, their own sanction to do exactly what they've done with the UFC.
As the backlash grew, Eric Jackman and Connor Burks discussed how Dana White appears to be treating the betting controversy with complete seriousness and urgency. They noted that White's immediate communication with authorities shows a clear intent to address the matter transparently. According to them, the scope of this situation could extend far beyond one event, with many insiders likely to come forward as the investigation unfolds.
Clearly, Dana White is cooperating with the FBI, right? First call as soon as he left cage side after that fight is to the FBI. There are going to be a lot of people that do have information and do come forward, and this is, I think the impact of this is going to be felt for a long time. I think there's going to be like monumental changes made, if bare minimum to the betting, and if not just the betting, the sport itself, like the actual regulation of the sport itself. So I think this is going to be widespread. But as you said, Dana White is not around here.
They also believe the outcome of this probe could reshape how betting and regulatory systems operate within mixed martial arts. With major partnerships and broadcasting deals on the horizon, White has a strong motivation to safeguard the UFC's credibility and protect the sport's integrity from lasting damage. They emphasize that how the organization handles this moment could define its future reputation.
Massive motivations on the line to make sure that this gets nipped in the bud. The billions with the Paramount deal. Like, he's getting ready to start a new relationship with someone that just gave them the most money they have ever even thought about getting for the UFC as a TV rights deal. Like, there's also nothing good that comes with the allegations that there's fight fixing going on in the UFC. Then it just waters down the product to where anything happens, people will be like, oh, wait, yeah, I think that might, like, think about any Jake Paul fight. Fixed.
Yeah.
It's just like, what about a UFC fight where something crazy happens?
Adding to the discussion, Luke Thomas analyzed the UFC's overall response, describing it as cautious yet reactive. He says the organization is clearly worried about its image and potential regulation, yet its actions seem more like surface-level damage control than genuine accountability. He adds that the UFC, once known for its aggressive professionalism, now appears less proactive in addressing serious issues within the sport.
And I gotta say, like, the UFC putting out a statement that was interesting. I thought that was okay. But then Dana just, I said this on my video, Dana just goes out there and, like, with a webcam talking to TMZ. I'm like, they're clearly afraid enough about what this could mean to want to say something and get out, as you know, do some kind of damage control. But even then, it seems a little lazy to me. Right? It's like a little...
He adds that in the past, UFC thrived under pressure and worked with sharp precision, but now appears complacent in its dominance. Thomas believes the organization is cooperating with integrity firms and the FBI, but has lost the intensity that once drove its success. He warns that without that same urgency, UFC risks letting small issues grow into much larger problems.
Not, again, they still have IC360. They've got, again, I'm sure they're doing full compliance with FBI. It's not, I don't mean that they're being duplicitous. That's not my point, but they just seem a little lazy about it. And that's that. It's just weird to see the UFC be this way when I watch them come up doing the exact opposite of that. That's just a weird part about the brand. It's like, I have seen what the brand did when they were trying to prove a point to the world.
Moving forward, MMA Joey raised concerns about how the UFC and Dana White are handling the situation. He suggested that their focus seems to be more on controlling the narrative than truly addressing the underlying issues. Joey implied that the organization's financial ties to betting companies may be influencing its response to the controversy.
Dana White is sweeping this under the rug. I told you guys this a couple days ago. Most likely nothing will come from this. It's just about damage control from Dana and the UFC. All they want to do is get out ahead of this narrative, because what do they have? One, they obviously have a multi-billion-dollar business, but what is a main source of income from that business? It is gambling partnerships.
He also questioned the lack of widespread coverage from MMA media outlets despite the seriousness of the situation. Joey pointed out that this could be one of the sport's most significant scandals, yet it feels largely ignored. He hinted that many within the media might be hesitant to speak out due to fear of backlash from UFC leadership.
The entire scenario is, I don't feel like the MMA media is covering this enough. This should be the biggest scandal in the history of the UFC, or at least one of them. it doesn't feel like there's that much coverage. I don't know if they're scared of retribution. They're scared of some type of retribution from Dana White in the UFC, but I don't feel like the coverage is there.
The MMA guru shared his own perspective on the betting controversy, suggesting the situation was far too unusual to dismiss. He hinted that there could be unseen factors or withheld information shaping how events unfolded. His tone implied that what is visible publicly might only be part of a much deeper issue. He also emphasized the need for a thorough investigation to uncover the full scope of what happened.
You know I got the boys covered. Okay? You guys know I got you guys covered. So I hear rumblings. Okay? People are in my chat going, you seen the betting lines for this? I check them. All of a sudden, this is live on the night. Before Dulgarian versus Del Valle even happened, I'm just letting the boys know. I'm sounding the horns, okay? The betting companies are going wild right now. Something must have been leaked from Dulgarian's camp. Just a heads up, folks. Now, I thought this was going to be, okay, someone's heard backstage that Dulgarian's injured. He's mentioned it to someone.
He continued by stressing that a full and transparent investigation is necessary to uncover the truth behind the betting patterns and their fallout. MMA Guru believes that honesty and openness are crucial to protecting the sport's integrity. Without them, he warns, trust between fighters, fans, and the organization could quickly erode.
So then they've just told someone and they've put a ton of money and it's changed the betting lines. That's what I thought was going down. And that was my initial understanding of it. And then people are saying, easy money, thank you. There's a lot of people in the comments saying easy money. Hey, no problem. Listen, guys. Listen, it's thankless work, you know. It's just out here getting the boys fed is what we got to do. And then I even tweeted after the fight. I said, someone needs to be investigated for this. The odds went from minus 270 to minus 150 for Dulgarian in the space of half an hour, and crazy money came in on Del Valle.
Following MMA Guru's arguments about integrity issues in the UFC, Ariel Helwani shifted the focus to a specific fight that drew widespread attention. He recounted the recent bout between Cuban fighter Yadier del Valle, who entered undefeated with 9 wins, and Isaac Dulgarian, a 7-1 competitor from Factory X under coach Mark Montoya.
So there was a fight between a Cuban gentleman named Yadier del Valle against Isaac Dulgarian. Yadier was 9-0 going into the fight. Isaac Dulgarian, who fights under Factory X, Mark Montoya, one of the best gyms in the sport, was 7-1 going into the fight, 3-1 in the UFC, and the lone loss was a split decision loss to C-Rod, Christian Rodriguez.
Helwani pointed out that roughly an hour before the fight, odd patterns in betting activity started circulating on social media, drawing attention from fans and analysts alike. Though he acknowledged that investigating such matters isn't his area of expertise, he emphasized the importance of these developments and indicated he would later break down what unfolded after the event.
This fight happened at approximately 8:05, 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time, at approximately 7-ish Eastern Time, so around an hour before the fight. A whole bunch of activity started to come through on social media regarding questionable gambling activity surrounding this fight. What I want to do is quickly pass this off, because when it comes to this stuff, this is not my domain, but I'll tell you all about the aftermath. Have no fear.
MMA Chase spoke out about the ongoing UFC betting scandal, saying the issue runs deeper than most realize. He believes gambling's influence on the sport has become uncontrollable, and that its removal might be the only real fix. Mills warned that as long as money drives decisions, corruption will always find a way in. He also questioned whether current systems are strong enough to prevent future incidents.
I'll be honest with you guys. Listen, I make a lot of money from sports betting sponsorships. I mean, I make a ton of money. I mean, they're a giant reason why I'm as successful as I am. Yet, I'll be the first to tell you, the only way we're going to fix this is just to ban sports betting. That's the only way we're going to fix this. You just have to get rid of it. And I don't know if that's even plausible or if that could ever happen. But as long as sports betting will exist, there will be people with a tremendous amount of resources who are going to use it as an avenue to make a profit. I mean, it's just that simple. Human behavior will always be human behavior.
He also raised concerns that the issue could involve not just fighters, but also judges and other officials. Mills criticized Dana White's handling of the situation, suggesting it fell short of true accountability. He added that without meaningful reforms, the integrity of the sport could face lasting damage. Mills warned that failure to act decisively could erode trust among fans and athletes alike.
I mean, listen, maybe pay the fighters a lot more money, pay the judges a lot more money. I mean, here's the problem, though. The judges are not paid by the UFC. They're paid by athletic commissions, which are government bodies that are paid by taxpayers. And then we're not going to have millions of dollars to pay these people. I mean, there's just no way. So the only thing you can physically do here is just make sports betting illegal.
Michael Babcock and Mojo Mutati explained that integrity firm IC360 flagged unusual betting on a UFC fight, leading the organization to contact the fighter and his team. The fighter denied any issue. The bout went ahead, and his early submission loss raised further suspicion, prompting the UFC to alert the Federal Bureau of Investigation.
And they literally called the FBI that night. And you can tell with Dana White, the entire time that he's been the head of UFC, he has had this no-nonsense approach to being a leader there. Yeah. And this just goes to show, like, he means business about this. If anyone is guilty here, I feel bad for them because they also have to face, the legal ramifications, but then they also have to answer to Dana White, which is almost just as terrifying because he calls the FBI right after. I mean, this is something that he wants to make sure that the UFC has a clean image and that no one ever questions what they're looking at inside the octagon.
They note that investigators are reviewing betting data and speaking with those involved as UFC cooperates fully. Hosts suggest this could be either a major fixing scandal or an unfortunate coincidence, but stress that anyone proven guilty will face serious legal and professional consequences.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that part for a second. What is the possibility here that he wasn't involved and this is an absolutely awful coincidence? I mean, it's certainly possible. It's definitely not likely, but it's possible. Who knows, man? If you got the freaking FBI calling you, you got Dana White calling you, you got this other company calling you, you've been training for this fight for a while, and then all of a sudden, these people are all in your head, and now it's not only about winning or losing. You go out there and you're like, if I get submitted in the first round, I'm going to jail for something that I had nothing to do with.
As the investigation continues, the UFC faces growing pressure from fans and industry figures to provide clear answers. With its credibility under scrutiny, many in the MMA community believe the probe could reshape how gambling partnerships and fighter conduct are managed. While Dana White's cooperation with the FBI demonstrates a commitment to addressing the issue, the lack of full transparency leaves questions about the depth of the problem, and the sport's reputation will depend on how effectively the organization handles the crisis.